What's going on, you guys? This is New York Adventurer 1994 here, and today is Monday, March 14th, 2022. And I know I should have made this video yesterday, but I was so busy with my Disney content and all that other stuff. But the main reason why I want to make this video is because yesterday was the second anniversary of when we got put into lockdown thanks to COVID. Yeah, yesterday was the second anniversary. It was Friday, March 13th, 2020. And yes, that was absolute bad luck. Friday the 13th that time. Yeah, March 13th was actually the day that me and my brothers got kicked out of school in person learning. Yeah, we all got kicked out of school thanks to the pandemic. It was the last day of our in-person learning for the rest of the year. That we had to go on remote for the rest of the year. And March 11th, they canceled NBA, NHL, MLB, and all that other stuff. Concerts were getting canceled. A lot of places were closing down. It was insane. The MLB was postponed until late July, and the NBA and NHL got their regular seasons canceled in May, that they skipped right to the playoffs in August. But instead of the 16 team format, it was expanded to 24 teams, which was a good sign because there were a lot of teams that almost missed. The playoffs all had to be played in Canada for the NHL. The East was in Toronto and the West was in Edmonton. And oh yeah, during the early stages of COVID, when you had to go into public, you had to wear a mask and gloves. And I remember the shortages that were happening. You know, you guys all remember when the stores were very short on necessities. Like, they were pretty short on milk. They were short on paper towels. They were short on toilet paper. Because they were short on a lot of things, my parents had to get up at the crack of dawn at 7 in the morning just to go get milk or paper towels or toilet paper. They had to go to the store at like 7 in the morning before it was all gone by the afternoon. The stores were like mobbed for those items because they were so important. Yeah, this was a really serious situation, guys. We were all there. I remember it like it was yesterday. The shortages. They were just out of control. Oh, and New York Prepper pointed out that the police would not be there to help unless if it was an actual emergency due to the virus being so deadly. Yeah, that's how serious it was. And during the early weeks of COVID, you weren't able to see anybody unless you performed social distances. And that means to stay 6 or more feet from that person. Like, if somebody stopped in front of your house, like it's a family or friend, you would have to stay, like, across the lawn from them if you want to say hi to them or drive past by them, like in your car. In your car. Yeah. I remember that there were some birthdays going on where your family members would like drive right by to wish you a happy birthday. Like they would form this little parade on your block and drive right by. Because they weren't allowed inside the house to see you because of how deadly COVID was. Like you really had to keep your distance, like 6 or more feet apart. Yeah, I really felt isolated during the pandemic. It was not fun at all. I had to do like remote learning. I had to be isolated from everyone. But thankfully, I was with my family during this. The only chatting I did with anyone else was on social media, and that was it. Like, I had my Facebook Messenger, I had my messages on my phone. Thank you, Neptune, for social media. It was needed more than ever if you wanted to talk to someone else that was in the house with you. Yeah. That was the only way I was able to contact anyone who was in the house with me with social media. That was it. If you wanted to see them in person, you would have to like stay 6 or more feet away from them. That's how bad it was. Yeah, and the shortages and all that other stuff continued through Easter too. We even had a windstorm, rain and windstorm, the day after Easter, and we had gusts up to 70 miles an hour over here one day, which I have a video about. And during the pandemic, it was really hard with all the people that lost power. It made the shortages a lot worse than ever during the power outages from that windstorm. Because it knocked out a lot of power on the East Coast during the pandemic. I mean, a power outage during COVID was not fun because you have people fighting for items more than the power being turned on. Yeah, the shortages were a lot worse when people lost power. Yeah, I still remember that storm the day after Easter. It knocked out power for almost everyone on the East Coast. By the time it was May, it was declared that the school year for in-person learning was officially canceled. We had to spend the rest of the year on remote learning, and there was no hope for us coming back for the rest of the school year. They announced it on May 1st that the rest of the school year was going to be on remote. We were supposed to come back in May, but May 1st rolled around and that was it. There was no more postponing our return to school. Yeah, they kept pushing it back for our safety. Yeah, it's not fun. It was not fun at all. I was really disappointed about that. But June, by the time it was June, there was some type of turnaround. We started going through all these phases of reopening. By the time it was phase 4, a lot of stuff were opening up again. But I actually had to cancel my Disney trip in July that year because If I traveled outside my state of New York, I would have to take a 2-week quarantine, which is not fun. So I decided to go to Buffalo instead, so I have somewhere to go and see Niagara Falls, which was epic. Yeah, I had a blast at Niagara Falls when I went that July. A lot of places were opening up in Buffalo. It was great. Buffalo was on phase 4 reopening. That I was able to do a lot of stuff there. Like I was able to see the falls. I was able to visit the museum. I went to the Anchor Bar. Yeah, I had a good time in Buffalo. I mean, with Disney, I would have to take a two-week quarantine, but with Buffalo, I didn't have to because I was still in New York State. But a lot more things took a fall after that because we had Tropical Storm Isaias. I remember there were widespread power outages on the East Coast again because we had Hurricane Isaias in August and it caused widespread power outages everywhere. Yeah, that led to the shortages again. Especially during COVID. I mean, having a hurricane during COVID is really hard because if there's widespread power outages from wind damage and flooding, and there's a lot of people fighting for food and stuff, it just ramps up. And they need gas for their generator and stuff. The good news was that I was able to return to in-person learning by the time it was September when I was returning to school, but you had to wear masks in school just like everywhere else back then. I actually went to Cortland a week before school started because my dad was getting a tattoo of Big Al from the Country Bears. Yeah, I remember going to Cortland before school started. But there was a lot of stuff in there that was closed down due to the pandemic, but it is what it is. I just had to make the best of the hotel I was staying in Cortland. Yeah, I remember Cortland. I remember seeing Cortland before school started in September. So, the 2020 and 21 school year was just a full-on pandemic school year. Because the entire school year I had to go to school with a mask on. So, yeah. This was a crazy pandemic to be in. This was really serious, guys. So, it's been 2 years since this lockdown started. So, I guess that's it. Bye.